Hello, my name is Farah Ayuni binti Ismail. My metric number is 19 BB03001.
Hi, my name is Nur Shuhada binti Abdullah. Matrix number 19BB03009.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Fatin Dayana binti Muhammad Nordin. My metric number is 19 BB03010.
Hi, Assalamualaikum. My name is Farah Amira. My number metro is 19BB03011.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Ain Zalika P. Zamri. My number battery 19BB03015.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Novita binti Aziz. Number metric 19BB03018.
Good morning, students. Your class will start now. I hope you are doing well today. Basically, last week I asked you to do a revision on the topic Shariah stock screening, right? And you guys need to discuss during class time. So, any of you want to start first, or you want me to call your name? Hurry up. Who is it?
Miss, can I start first?
Okay, good, Zalika. You may proceed.
From my reading, formulated by the Shariah Advisory Council of Securities Commission of Malaysia to assist investors in identifying Shariah compliant securities. This is to ensure that their investments are in accordance with Shariah principle, which is elements of riba, maisir and gharar. Second, introduced in mid-1990. Screening benchmark and qualitative assessment was introduced in mid-1999, keeping views the infancy of the Islam. Third, the Dow Jones Islamic Market Index family include thousands of broad market, blue chip, fixed income, and strategy and thematic indices. The indices are the most visible and widely used set of Sharia compliant benchmark in the world.
Miss, now it's my turn. My view of stock screening for Sharia compliance is Malaysia was the first Muslim country with a conventional stock market to have come up with formal evaluation for Sharia compliant stocks and a Sharia index. Other than that, if you want to know, Dow Jones is a US-based publisher of the Wall Street Journal and financial information provider, and designed the Dow Jones Islamic Market Index. The Dow Jones Islamic Market Index was launched in Bahrain in 9 February 1999, and it was launched because a global Islamic index did not exist, and Dow Jones Index's objective are to become the industry benchmark. The Dow Jones Islamic Market Index was the first index created for investors seeking investment in compliance with Muslim Sharia law. The Dow Jones Islamic Market Index measures the performance of global universe of investable equities that have been screened for Sharia compliance, consistent with Dow Jones Index's methodology.
I agree with you, Farah. Let me explain further regarding Sharia of stock screening in Malaysia. In 1996, the SAC was established by the Securities Commission, or we call that SC. Sharia screening of listed stocks in Malaysia was established by Shariah Advisory Council, or we call that SAC. Okay, next is parameters based on broad categories divided into two, which is company's line of business and company's finances. Line of business refers to product or services which are offered by a business or manufacturer for a particular customer transaction or business need. Line of business can apply to any industry, but it is very common in the banking and insurance sector. Under company line of business, there are three components, which is haram, mixed, and halal. Haram is a company that conduct activities that do not depend on Shariah, such as selling alcohol, pork, and so on. Okay, next is mix. Mix refers to a company that mix halal and haram, which is Shariah and non-Shariah. And the last one is halal. Halal typically includes marketing in aspect of food and beverage, food outlet, and personal care product. Halal marketing also includes the certification for halal, where relevant Islamic authorities would certify the product is halal, prepared in accordance with the Shariah, and does not contain any haram ingredient such as pork and alcohol. Okay, in under company finance, there are two components, which is interest income and interest paid. Okay, next we move to next slide, phase 1, which is quantitative method. Quantitative method refers to measurement or mathematical of data collected through polls and surveys. The objective of quantitative method is to compare the percentage contribution of no permissible activities to the company income and profit before tax. Okay, there are 4 steps to compute the percentage. The first step is determining the earnings, which is total income and total revenue. And also profit before tax, or we call that PBT of company. Okay, the second step is identify and measure the income or earning and profit before tax from the number permissible activities. Okay, the third step is determining the percentage. As you can see, there are 2 formulas to determining the percentage. Okay, the last step is comparing the percentage earnings and PBT, which is profit before tax, with the 2 threshold level marks. Okay, 2 threshold level market that SAC determined is 5% threshold level marks, which is when the non-permissible are clearly prohibited, like riba, gambling, and liquor, and that 25% level mark for image. It is when activities that are generally permissible and beneficial, but contain elements that may affect the Sharia status of these activities, such as share trading, stock broking, and others. Okay, next we move to the next slide. The second method, qualitative method. Qualitative method is not same with the quantitative method. The qualitative method does not depend on mathematical analysis. It uses on a case-by-case method. This method also involves collecting and analyzing non-numerical data like text, video, and audio. This method are applicable for situations where the core activity of the company has important as maslahah, which is a benefit in general to the ummah, but includes a small element like maybe haram. Okay, the next, the SAC reviews the list periodically. They will update list is issued every 6 months. Okay, that's all from me.
Wow, great explanation, huh? I didn't expect you guys to go more detail, but it is actually good for you and your friend. So, Who's next? Novita, Novita. Where are you? Novita?
Yes, Miss. From my reading, in many ways, the stock screening procedures used by Dow Jones for its Islamic index is more elaborate and tighter than those of Malaysia's SAC. As is the case with the Malaysia criteria, there are two broad categories: the nature, business, and financial aspect. The Dow Jones criteria are more stringent where a company's financial aspects are concerned. In fact, while the Malaysia evaluation does not look at a company balance sheet, only its income statement, the Dow Jones criteria involve both financial statement, especially the balance sheet. Dow Jones begins with an initial step that involves eliminating stocks of all companies involved in an exhaustive list of activities. These industries relate to alcohol, liquor, pork, conventional financial service, which is bank, service, insurance, merchant banking, etc., hotels, entertainment, including cinema and music, tobacco, defense, weapons, manufacturing, and so on. Although this step qualitative, the second step involved the quantitative analysis of the firm's financial ratios. This numerical analysis is really aimed at two things. Number one, identifying firms with exercise leverage in the capital structure, and number two, identifying firms with unacceptable levels of interest income. This is generally done by applying the following three keys ratio. Number one, debt to trailing 12 months average market capitalization, liquid assets to TTMAMC, and number three, receivable to TTMAMC.
Thank you, Novita. Well, where are my favorite students? My expectation to you is very high, Farah. So I want you to explain more details. Farah, can you hear me?
Yes, Miss, as you wish. My views on comparison of stock screening techniques, there are two clear points of differences between Dow Jones Islamic Index and Malaysian Shariah Advisory Council. The first one is the tolerance for mixed businesses by the SAC, and the second one is the more stringent use of balance sheet-based financial ratio by Dow Jones. Recall back that Malaysia SAC allows for the inclusion of non-halal business as long as the contribution to earnings and profit before tax is no longer than 5%. Malaysia SAC also does not evaluate a firm's balance sheet. Thus, the firm's capital structure and the extent of its financial leverage is not a consideration. In the case of DJII or Dow Jones Islamic Index, there is no such allowance. If any part of a firm's business is in a prohibited industry, the firm is automatically dropped. It is obvious that relative to Dow Jones, the Malaysian criteria are more liberal. The Malaysian criteria are intended to be country-specific, with Malaysian listed stock as the main target. Thus, for Dow Jones, the universe of potential stock is global. Since the SAC criteria is Malaysia-specific, using a stringent filter will result in a smaller group of eligible stocks and therefore a much narrower investable spectrum for Muslim investors in Malaysia.
Oh my god, Farah, you are so brilliant. Miss, I also want to share with you regarding the Shariah screening methodology two-tier approach. Malaysia is undergoing two stages of Shariah review. The first one is quantitative stage and second one is qualitative stage. Any of listed security must pass these two screening process or stages to qualify as a Shariah compliance company. Okay, so on 18 June 2012, the SC Security Commission Malaysia has revised the screening methodology by creating two-tier quantitative approach, okay, which apply in business activity benchmark, and they had newly introduced financial ratio benchmark. But in the other side, they still maintaining the qualitative assessment. The table that I had provided to you is the differences between the previous methodology and a revised methodology. Revised methodology is the method that has been up to date. Okay, the first thing, as you can see in the table that I had provided, the first stage of screening in previous methodology, we didn't use it anymore in revised methodology. Next, as I did mention before, the SC has revised the screening methodology by creating two-tier approach in revised methodology. So as you can see in the table, so they are under the quantitative assessment, they are first tier and second tier. Before this, in previous methodology, they use four types of benchmark to compute the contribution of a non-permissible activity and compare with the group turnover and group profit before tax. So, they has been reduced the types of benchmark from 4 to 2, which are 5% and 20% on. Alright, as you can see in the table, under the quantitative assessment in revised methodology, there are another tier which is second tier. Okay, second tier. The second tier is, I had mentioned before, the one which the newly introduced by the Security Commission. So any company need to undergo this financial ratio screening. This is called financial ratio screening. Okay. Under the second tier, there are two types of financial ratio. The first one is cash over total assets, and second one is debt over total assets. Okay, so the first ratio is cash over total asset is the ratio which only include cash in conventional account and instrument only, means that from Islamic account is excluded. Okay, so the second one is debt over total asset. Okay, only include interest bearing debt only. If company use financing Islamic financing such as sukuk, it is excluded from calculation. So that's mean in both financial ratio, cash over total asset and debt over total asset, the calculation is excluded from Islamic instrument. In the other part of qualitative stage, there are no changes made to the existing qualitative assessment. Right, under the qualitative assessment, they are really concerned about the image of the company and other matters such as maslahah, balwa, uruf, and other right of non-Muslim. They are really accepted in Islam.
Thank you, Farah and Diana. Okay, Miss want to add a little info regarding on comparison the Shariah screening methodology for stocks between Malaysia criteria and Dow Jones method. Now I'm going to share a slide with you. Please have a look. Okay, as you can see, table on the slide highlight that the Shariah screening guideline used by the SC and Dow Jones Islamic Market Index. Okay, sebelum tu, in general, ada dua screening method yang digunakan oleh Shariah Advisory. Yang mana? Yang pertama ialah Business Activity Screening and the second one is Financial Ratio Screening. The business activity ni is undertaken to determine that the company under consideration is not involved in any activities prohibited by the Shariah. However, since it is almost impossible to find a company which is purely Shariah compliant, Islamic scholars have agreed to approve any company where 95% of its earnings are derived from halal activity. Therefore, the remaining 5% of the company's earnings may come from non-halal sources deemed avoidable due to current business practices. Satu contoh popular untuk non-halal earning is interest-based income from conventional banking and financing activity. Itulah dia punya contoh yang paling popular. Okay. On the other hand, financial ratio screening is carried out to ensure that the financial aspect of the company under consideration complies with the Shariah requirements pertaining to leverage, receivable and interest income. Untuk company to be approved as halal, its total debt obtained from conventional financing must not exceed 33% of the company's equity. Its account receivable should be kurang daripada 49% of the total assets, with interest income derived from cash and other interest bearing to instruments should not account for more than 5% of the total profit. Okay, we continue. Table on the slide, as you can see, it appears that while the two screening methods are virtually unanimous on the types of business activities deemed non-permissible to haram, with regards to business activity screening, they are slightly different in their judgment when it comes to the financial ratio screening or in treating companies which are involved in both permissible and non-permissible activity. For instance, in respect to interest income obtained from conventional banking, the CS would approve a company as Shariah compliant kalau total interest amount tu kurang daripada 10%. Similar, there is a difference in the treatment of account receivables, whereby the cap varies 45% for Dow Jones Islamic Market Index. Okay, so I think that's all from me.
Miss, I want to conclude this lesson. From my perspective, it seems to me Islamic economic was accepted in the early part of the 20th century as a remedy to socialism and capitalism. Modern investment pays attention not only on maximizing profit but also at ethical investment, which emphasizes on green investment, as well as having some weight on social responsibility. Second, in Malaysia, almost all the banks offer Islamic banking, therefore free from riba, but conventional finance still offers some other option which remains on fence. We believe there is a room for improvement in the anxiety screening technique, as well as to preserve the human intelligence as one of the contribution to the Muslim community. Okay, third, the Shariah Board of different jurisdiction has the freedom general rulings do not contravene the principle of Shariah as enshrined in the Quran and Sunnah. Despite all the difference and inconsistent, it is recommended that relevant authorities should set a universal standard with clear guidelines and understanding to be applicable to all. Okay, thank you.
Well done. I think that's all for today and you can leave now. Oh, one more thing, student. This topic is very important for the examination point of view. So take note, yeah? Okay, thank you everyone. Bye-bye.